Hello, I'm Martha.
And I'm Kirsten.
We're on the staff at the Elgin Library, and we want to tell you about this month's Top Titles Book Chat. The book is entitled Night Tiger by Young Shi Chu. Young Shi Chu grew up in Asia, in Malaya. She also lived in Europe, so she had a really broad educational experience while she was growing up. She is of Chinese descent. She has created a story set in 1931 in 2 months, in May and June of 1931 in colonial Malaya. She's done an excellent job of creating the setting for this book. She has a very intriguing colonial Malaya with lush jungles and the small villages where the natives lived and plied their trades, and the plantations and parties of the British colonial inhabitants who had come to do missionary work and work in hospitals for people and help them cure all the diseases of tropical climates. There also in this book, there is a Chinese dance hall where young women were recruited to dance with any man who would purchase a ticket. And of course, the young ladies were quite beautiful and dolled up in their very best dress. And the pleasure the man would receive was to dance with this young lady. So this is a pretty interesting environment, and into it, Young Shi Chu has set her characters. So Kirsten, can you tell us about the two main characters?
So Rin is an 11-year-old houseboy. Lynn is a young lady who is a part-time dressmaker's apprentice, and she works as one of the dancing girls at a dance hall. Never says how old she is, but she is a young lady. She wasn't able to go to university. Her stepbrother was. Young ladies were not, well, women period, were not allowed to go to university, even though it makes it very clear that Jilin is smarter than her stepbrother. She wasn't allowed to go, but he was.
Wow. So Kirsten, tell me about how the action starts in this book. What brings these two seemingly dissimilar characters together?
Well, that's a good question, Martha. Rin, like I said, is an 11-year-old houseboy, and he previously worked for a man called Dr. McFarlane, who was an older gentleman. And Dr. McFarlane passed away, but before he did, he made Rin promise to find his missing finger because it was believed that if you were buried with a part of yourself missing, then your soul couldn't go to the underworld. So he tasked Rin with finding this finger. Meanwhile, Ji Lin, who's working at the dance hall, and one day during a rather ungainly dance with a salesman, there's a rather unfortunate dip, and she comes into possession of a severed finger in a cylindrical tube. So Jilin is in possession of this missing finger and desperately wants to find who the finger belonged to. Meanwhile, Rin is in search of his master's missing finger. So during their respective missions, they end up interconnecting, and during that you meet a lot of interesting characters. There's a mystery that starts to unfold, there's a smidgen of romance, and you also get to see a bit of the supernatural world versus the real world. There's also murder involved and mysterious deaths and disappearances. Speaking of the supernatural world, Martha, why is tiger in the title?
Okay, so Young Shi Chu goes back to some Malayan folk tales and that revolve around tigers. And for the Malayan culture, believed that there was a weird tiger where a tiger would come out of the jungle and take on the appearance of a man and go into your houses and kill the people in the house. This is sort of the flip side of the West European idea of a werewolf, where a man would take on the visage of a wolf and go into the forest and kill people. So there's this supernatural idea, mythical idea that is running concurrently with the reality that's unfolding in the story. So there are a lot of mirror worlds in this book where two worlds are running concurrently. Another one is the world of the dead and the living, and another one is the world of the native Malayans and the British colonial inhabitants. So,
Well, and so that is a bit about The Night Tiger by Young Shi Chu. We hope that you are interested in reading it. We have a lot of copies here at the library, so when we reopen, we would love for you to come in and check out a copy and tell us what you thought about it. Now, down below in our Top Titles Book Chat group here on Facebook, we're going to start posting questions about the book. So if you've read it or if you're just intrigued by it, we'd love for you to join in the discussion. So, and again, that's Night Tiger by Young Shi Chu.